Howdy, folks. It's Meandering Mike in the man cave of madness. It's the middle of the afternoon, and we are doing an unboxing here today of Martin Melbardis' campaign Fall Blau. This is from Catastrophe Games. I'm not sure you can read it there. There's the crinkles in the shrink wrap, but yeah, Catastrophe Games. So I don't know if you are familiar with this kind of box and cover art. Yes, this is printed by Blue Panther. Catastrophe Games is one of the customers that does their print-on-demand stuff through Blue Panther. They also do some small batch printing, like to have copies on hand at conventions and such. But in general, this is print-on-demand. You order it, they transmit the order to Blue Panther. They print, and Blue Panther ships to you. They do the fulfillment. And just within a matter of a week or two, usually, you will get your game in hand. Let's get the shrink wrap out. I've started to shrink a little bit here with my handy dandy shrink wrap remover oyster shucker. Guaranteed to not stab you, not cut you. You know, might hurt a little bit. I'm sure if you stabbed it in your eye hard enough, you're gonna gouge your eye out. Don't do that. Do not do that. So let's look at the back of the box. I'm going to zoom in a little bit here on this stuff. Let's see if that's too close or not. All right, so one player. It is a solo game that takes 30 to 60 minutes of playtime. I'm going to assume that the first time you play it, probably a little slower, especially if you add in the time to learn the rules. But it is low complexity, age 14 plus. Now, it says there's a campaign / map board and one frontline board. 40 unit tracking markers. Now, that's interesting. They're not calling them counters. 9 dice. That's interesting. 31 event cards, 15 campaign cards, 5 general cards. Now, those means, like your generals that are in command, not general cards, if you know what I mean. Here it says, pick your 3 generals, issue them orders every turn, and use your resources wisely. So you get to pick 3 out of the 5 generals. Advance to new objective, attack the objective, resupply, prepare for counterattacks, etc. So this does not sound like a traditional hex and counter war game. From here, it looks kind of area-ish, but I can't really tell from here. Maybe it's point to point. You've obviously got event cards. To what degree you call that card driven or not, we'll have to see. They talk about some of the, like, do you head immediately for Stalgrad, taking the city early in the season? Or do you push for the distant southern oil fields around Ostrakhan and Grozny? Or maybe an opportunistic approach, looking for openings in both directions? All right, so let's open her up. Open her up. Now, I've had this one a little while, so it doesn't have the totally new ink smell. I'm going to tilt this. I got to zoom back out. Tilt this down here. Get a little closer. Let's see, is that? That should be adequate. All right. So, cubes. Cubes. Dice. Let's see now. I see in here 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 dice. I do indeed see 9 dice. 1 yellow cube. Red and gray otherwise. I'm trying to eyeball them, not count them. Let's see what it is. It said, oh, big deck of cards there. All right. 40 unit tracking markers. So, yellow, there's red which should be the Soviets, and gray should be the Germans. Yellow is probably like a turn marker, a phase marker, something like that. That's me guess. Now, this deck looks a little thicker. Let's see, it said, okay, so 31 event, 15 campaign, that's 46 plus 5 is 51. That's about right. That's about right. Okay, this has, yeah, and I'm going to go ahead and open this up, tear right into it, because as I always say, I will be using my plastibuns to sort and store my cards, because they are better than rubber bands. You've all heard why. For those of you who haven't, plastic bands are not rubber bands. Rubber bands are bad. Do not use rubber bands. Rubber bands do not last. They leave stains and marks and yucky, yucky. Okay, these are very slick cards. They're feel a little bit thin, but not flimsy. All right, mission deck, general deck. All right, let me 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 10. They did not mention a mission deck. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8. There's 8 generals. So the stuff on the back of the box is a little off. German 4th Panzer Army, Hoth. Garibaldi, obviously Italian. Dumitrescu, that's Romanian. Obviously, von Paulus, famous 6th Army. Have fun in Stalingrad, buddy. All right. So this big puppy here is the event deck. So there. So here's the campaign deck, which they said there was 15 of these. 14, okay, so these are cities, objectives in the campaign. So I'm not sure if these are going to reflect, like you draw this, and this is equivalent of like the Hitler orders, where you have to obey the directives from on high, and you must go after this guy, that guy, the other. Or are these going to be, you draw a certain number of these, and those are what you're going to get bonus points for. Now, if you notice the numbers here, like Stalingrad on the Volga River, 5. These other things, 1. Rostov, 2. Rostov's very close by. Definitely seems like make good sense to take Rostov as early as possible. Stalingrad, Mamayevke. So what is the difference here? Is that the outskirts? I'm not sure if is that an island. Is it on islands? Kotelnikovo, city center. Grozny, way to the south. Astrakhan, that's over there on the Caspian. All right. So a fair number of Stalingrad cars. 4 out of the 15 are Stalingrad. All right, that's the campaign cards. I'm not going to look at all the event cards. I'm going to see what kind of things. General Zhukov. While he's in play, all local and major counterattacks Reroll rolls of a 6. Traffic jams. Exhaust any 2 adjacent generals on the front line of the player's choice. Soviet air offensive. Okay, so we have red cards and gray cards. So when they're all on the same deck, obviously ones that are oriented towards helping the Germans are helping the Russians. Partisans. 22nd Panzer. Gain 3 dice. These extra attack dice have the Panzertruppen special rule. Major counterattack. Oh, that's I'm assuming these are like victory points. So some of these events actually have victory points. I'm guessing that's victory points. We can look at the rules and find out. Shall we do that? Yes, let's look at the rules. Rule book. I'm going to move this back here. I'm going to zoom out a little bit at first. Before we look at the rulebook, let's see what the player aids are potentially. What did it say? Did not mention player aids. So there's the frontline board and the campaign map board. All right. So. All right. Not at all what I was expecting. So this is a form of battle board. Unlock campaigns, completed campaigns off to the side. I'm assuming these are like discard piles or cards in play. 5 piles. I don't know, are these reserves? Frontline, exhausted troops. It's not intuitively obvious what's going on. I mean, obviously this is frontline here, and there's the Soviets. Does that mean everything in the front line is automatically exhausted? Does this fight this down here, and then you push them forward when they're exhausted? That sounds weird. So I'm not sure. This is the thing on the back there. So this needs some understanding. This is the campaign map. So, all right. So there's the Stalingrad outskirts. Stalingrad, Mamayev K. I'm not sure. Stalingrad on the other side of the Volga. Stalingrad city center. Well, that's normally up, right abutted to the Volga, but on this side. So I'm certain you put a cube on these, is my guess of who controls them. So if we're assuming the Germans are starting from off the map, and they're going to try to take control, but see, it doesn't make sense that you could drive all the way down to Grozny without having to take this stuff. So there's no lines. Those are rivers. Those are not connection lines. It's not a point to point. So that'll be interesting to see how that works in terms of choice or where you have to roll and fight, what order you can do these in or not. Now, maybe these numbers on here are not victory points. Is this? No, it doesn't make sense. You don't. Yeah. I mean, you could drive in here and focus everything here and ignore this. It's not like you have to take the 1s and 2s and 3s and 4 and 5. Like, well, if you could take the 1s all the way down to here, and then you have to go this way, and then that doesn't make sense. That's the only 3. See, here there are. Those are victory points. Victory, brilliant victory, victory. No, that's weird. Yellow, victory, brilliant. So I'm assuming the green and the yellow are for different scenarios. You know, you can get a victory level and a brilliant victory. Starting reserve supplies. So this must be the, well, see, we only had one yellow guy. Only one yellow marker. So would it be in here or on here? And potentially you need a marker down here. So, there's a white cube that I missed. Yellow and white. Now, if both sides have their own depots, you'd use your own color on here, maybe, I suppose. All right, let's look at that rule book. Turn sequence. So let's look at that rule first. Adjust the calendar. Ready the generals. Draw 2 event cards. Issue orders to the generals. Resolve local Soviet counterattacks. See, deploy an unlocked campaign card to the front line directly in front of the general who gave the order. All right, so those campaign cards, there's going to be some way that you determine you draw event cards, you don't draw campaign cards. So there must be an order on them that we did not notice. I'm going to zoom in. No, there's just this number up here, which is supposed to be points. As far as I know. Well, it could be unlocking order, but nothing says that you have to do them in that order. I don't know. But see, that still doesn't make sense. Technically, you could drive on Rostov without taking Voroshilograd. Yeah. So that's still a mystery. Unlocking those. All right, let's do like the thing. Let's look at the rubric, please. Go back. Overview. Objective is to defeat enough campaign cards and or counterattacks to amass 27 or more victory points. Okay. November 42. Campaign progress. It does not. Okay, here's the operational calendar. So each turn is roughly 10 days, if a month, which is roughly 30 days. Early, mid, late for each month. So it's like a week and a half. 3 turns per month. Campaign progress. All right. Neat. Choose any 3 generals. Place on the battle board in the 3 gray slots. Chooses the order in which they are placed. Add a number of gray cubes under each general equal to that respective general's starting cube strength. All right, that's not where I was expecting the cubes to go. Place all the Soviet cubes and the remaining German cubes near the battle board. find the Voronezh campaign card and place it. So that is the only unlocked one at the start. Right there, I'm going to zoom in a little. Maybe you could slightly read some of this stuff. Right there, set up section number 4. Voronezh is the only unlocked campaign. So that's the unlocked campaigner above it. Place the remaining campaign cards next to here. Doesn't say to shuffle them or not. It does not say that. So you may choose after each point. Event cards might dictate what gets unlocked. You may draw a random number. You may take 2 and pick one, or I don't know. All right, shuffle the event deck. Here it says shuffle. Here it just says replace them. Face down. Add the 4 hard mode cards now for a more difficult game. Ooh, with the skull logo. All right, if you're playing hard mode. Did I mix those all in? I probably did. Was it on the back that they said? That was the General's deck. I don't see anything on the back. Stop. Up there. See that? That's hard mode. Major counterattack. General dismissed. Goodbye, Herr General. Ooh, so reinforcements. That one is hard mode. So there was 3 or 4. 4 hard mode cards. Did you see one that I missed? Point it out, folks. Right there on the top. Traffic jam. All right. So they're all stuff that helps the Soviets. So hard mode. Major counterattack. General dismissed. Reinforcements and traffic jam. All right. So those we did not play with at the start. Every other event card, you shuffle these puppies all up. You place them near the bottom of the strange battle board. What else does it say? On the game mat, place a white cube on. So the white cube is the operational calendar tracker. Place the supply cube. I'm going to guess that's the yellow one, the supply cube. No. Aha! Something I didn't see there. There's a black cube. It was hiding from my vision because it was sitting next to that black cube. The black cube is the supply cube. The yellow cube is the campaign progress. The white cube is the operational calendar. Got it. All righty then. Blah, blah, blah. All right, so we're looking at that too much, but it's interesting to see the components, figure out what they do. All right, so generals become exhausted when issued an order or do an event card. All right, if an event card exhausts them and they don't have a chance to do it, that's obviously, you didn't get your order to give them. So I see what you do. You slide them up and down. You slide the card down to expose the exhausted, saying this guy's exhausted. When you're done, readying generals just means you've slid them all up. So at the beginning of your turn, you unexhaust everybody. Then you draw your event cards. Obviously, if it says stop on it, you do it immediately. Your hand size is a maximum of 5 cards. If you need to draw more cards before drawing, choose and discard 1 card. So if you're at 5 and you need to draw a card, you must choose and discard 1. All right. Issue orders. So there, I need to zoom out more. That's right. Zoom out. You can't really read it, but you can see what I'm looking at. Advance orders, attack orders, overkill rule. Aha. You can only advance towards a campaign target towards an unlocked campaign card. So these guys can only, Voronezh is that number 1 dude at the start. Supplies, attack. All right. Ending the turn. Once all the generals are exhausted, the Soviets now respond with local counterattacks if possible. During the final step of each turn, the Soviets launch local counterattacks, so local to those campaigns that are unlocked. If there are no campaign cards in play, ignore this rule. So there can be moments, lulls, when no campaign cards have been unlocked. Each campaign card counterattacks the general directly in front of it. Bum, ba-dum, bum. Event tech, major Soviet counterattacks. Losing a general. If a general loses all of their gray cubes, that general and his entire army is wiped out. Removed from the game. This may be due to rolling too many 1s when attacking or because of a Soviet counterattack. Not only must you continue the game with 1 less general, you lose 2 victory points per general lost at the end of the game. So you could be down to 1 general left. You could still win, but you'd have had a 4 victory point penalty and only have 1 general. Here we go. How do we get more? Once the general performs an advance order, the player may choose any 1 campaign card currently in the unlocked queue and deploy it in front of him. Okay, so that's advancing, selecting. Panzer armies have the option to pay an extra supply to deploy a 2nd unlocked campaign to an empty space adjacent to the original campaign card. So you are moving and penetrating in such a way as you are moving on additional objectives, unlocking those so that the other generals can spin off and hit those. Yes, is that what that sounds like? The option to pay an extra to deploy a 2nd unlocked campaign card to an empty space. Once a campaign card is deployed to the front line, place a number of red cubes equal to the number depicted on the card. So, where are those campaigns? Oops. Okay, so here's the red cubes here. So 5 for Stalingrad, 4 for Stalingrad, Mummy of K. Only 3 for the Stalingrad outskirts. Let me zoom out a little more. 4 for Stalingrad. Oh, if Chuikov is in play, add an additional 2. Voroshilovograd. 4. Okay, so Voronezh, which is the starting campaign, has 3 red cubes. All right, here is the unlock. When you finish this, Voroshilovgrad and Rostov. This done, you unlock these 2. Bingo, bingo. All right. Okay, little flavor text down here. Voronezh was the first Soviet city to fall to the Germans during Operation Fall Blau. Alrighty, so if you want to get to Grozny, you gotta unlock Stavropol, and then you can unlock that one. Rostov, Novorossiysk, and Maikop. Novorossiysk and Stavropol. Maikop, Stavropol, Kotelnikovo. All right. So there should be, maybe little lines on this map that show what can unlock which, right? I don't know why they're not there. All right, so Voronezh, Voroshilograd, and Rostov. So this one unlocks, oops, sorry. This one then unlocks this one. So they could have lines coming like this, right? Hit this one, open this up, unlock these. Then from Rostov and Voroshilograd, that's Kalak. Go this way, Kalak. All right. Where is Rostov? There's Rostov. Novorossiysk and Maikop. These two down here. Now, how do you open up Kotelnikov? Wow. So this one, so Rostov will open up these two. Once you hit this one, you can go to Stavropol. But what about Maikop? Also Stavropol. So that's interesting. So this one opens up these two. If you finish this guy off in your backfield, that then opens up this one here. This one here would also open this one. So you can take this, leave this behind, and penetrate to here. Or if you take this one, you're able to come this way, even if you haven't taken this yet. So maybe that's theirs. They didn't want to draw those lines because it looks a little too complicated or messy. I don't know. I am probably going to photocopy this. There's no back to it. Maintaining this in its original pristine condition, and then on the photocopy I will draw some lines that seem to make sense to me, that'll help instead of having to hunt down those cards to see what's next. All right, Stavropol. Stavropol is probably going to go straight to Grozny. I think I already looked at that one and saw that. Yes, indeed. Stavropol to Grozny. So you can go down here, neat. Done. Hit either one of these two, get to Stavropol, get to Grozny. You can do this and ignore all that if you want to get down here first. Now, do not know, though, if counterattacks this way could cause you problems and cut you off. So, Kalak and Kotelnikov, let's see. Once you've hit Kotelnikov, opens up Alista, but what opened up Kotelnikov? My guess is you had to finish off Kalak. Stalingrad outskirts, and Kotelnikov. There you go. So now Alista, does that let you get to Astrakhan, or yes? So once you've gone down to Kotelnikov, you can get to Alista. From Alista, you can go to Astrakhan. So there's these little parallel routes that you can bypass Stalingrad. Astrakhan, not applicable. Does not open up anything, and Grozny should not. Oh, Grozny opens up Astrakhan. So you can drive, interesting, you can drive down here and get to Grozny and up to Astrakhan without having come through these two. If you come through these two here, get to Astrakhan, that does not open up this. They're probably saying, yeah, driving down there without having opened up Stavropol. It's probably pronounced Stavropol, sorry, just like Sevastopol, not Sevastopol, Sevastopol, Stavropol. So that's it. It's not reflexive. It's not the same way back and forth. It's not transitive that if you can make your way to Astrakhan to open up Grozny, well, Grozny can open up Astrakhan, but not vice versa. All right, but once you got to the Stalingrad outskirts, Stalingrad, Mamayevka, Stalingrad city center. Stalingrad, Mamayevka does not open up anything else. That's just its own thing for 3 points. You have to get to Stalingrad city center to then push across Stalingrad, across the Volga, or right on the Volga. I'm not sure how much there was actually on the other side of the Volga or not, or if that was all set up after the big siege was happening, the big fight in the city and all the little stuff that they set up there to ferry things across. All right, so there, folks, that was a little interesting look at how this mechanics work, how this map, and again, it's kind of a point-to-point. However, it's not exactly. There are some limitations of which order you can do things. So particularly that you can get to Astrakhan this mid-route. You can come down this way to get to Grozny. From Grozny you get to Astrakhan, but you cannot get this way from Astrakhan to Grozny without at least having unlocked Stavropol, Grozny, up. All right, and then here to Kalak, to the outskirts. You don't need to take Mamayevka to get to the city center and to the Volga, but you may want to, in that it's points and it might be easier. I don't know. We're at 38 minutes. I'm going to try to wrap this up here, folks. Victory points, reinforcements. I'm going to zoom out a little bit again. Campaign progress, ending the game. Well, are you far enough along? Okay, so that's the yellow. I still don't know what the green points are. No, the green victory points and brilliant victory box are only used for the hard mode. So if you're doing hard mode, not only do you have 4 extra event cards that are painful to you, but you require more points to get to the victory level or the brilliant victory level. So if you truly have mastered the game and find it too easy and you want to do hard mode, there sounds like a challenge for you. Special Panzertruppen rule. Mountains, fortified cities. Designer notes, glossary of terms. All right. Panzer armies, regular armies must be unlocking another campaign. Gray, green, red. Supply. Mountains. When attacking campaign cards with this icon, all attack dice are modified by -1. Fortress city. All attack dice by 1. All right. So that's it, folks. We've got our campaign map. Point-to-point-ish unlocking based on which campaigns you've previously unlocked and finished, unlocked other ones. They didn't draw the normal paths point-to-point, sort of because of some special rules. I think you can still draw it. You can make little arrows or dotted lines or something. Like I said, I will do that at some point. When I get around to eventually doing a how to play of this, I will, or certainly by the time I do a playthrough of it, I'll make a copy and I will experiment with that. This is your chosen generals. When they've taken their actions, they're exhausted until the beginning of your next turn. Some events exhaust your generals. These are the campaigns that you're fighting against, that you've unlocked campaigns. The generals basically assign themselves to campaigns. And you've got cubes on your generals. You got cubes on, I'm sure there's reinforcements and replacements in the events and all that kind of stuff. Adding and subtracting cubes as you do battle. This must be, we didn't read it, but it said the 5 hand limit. So this must be the 5 cards that you're keeping. So the ones that don't have the stop, play it immediately icon on it. But you can't have more than 5. So if you're going to draw, you said you had to get rid of one before you draw. So you have to make, you can't, sound like you couldn't draw your new card and then decide to draw events. Your maximum hand size is 5 cards. If you need to draw more cards before drawing, choose and discard one. Yes, indeed. So you have to decide what to get rid of beforehand. All right. So that is I would definitely call that a card-driven game between your events, between your campaigns. The campaigns are the opposition that you fight as the German generals. You attack campaign cards. They have a certain strength. Your generals have a certain strength. The events will beef those up or not. Missions. Did we? I don't remember seeing where the missions came into play. Missions. Now, here are the components. They do not mention the mission cards here. Deploying campaign cards using a general. The event deck. Major Soviet counterattacks. 50 points. Soviet reinforcements. Ending the game. Additional game modes. Mission modes. Okay. So the hard mode is add those 4 cards and have a log. Mission modes. Add specific missions to each month. For campaign. Can earn extra victory points or supplies during the setup of the game. Shuffle all 10 mission cards to form a mission deck. Each month, the early mark, draw 2 mission cards from the deck, are left face up and placed below the battle board. Has a condition that must be met in order for you to gain the extra victory points or supply. At the beginning of each month, any mission cards without their conditions fully met are discarded. Okay, so that's, you've got the whole month. You're drawing it at the beginning of the early part of the month. You can try to fulfill them at any time during that month. At the beginning of the next month, before you draw, you'd look to see, okay, those weren't fulfilled, so you discard them, or it gives you a lax chance to look. Has it been fulfilled? Anytime in the game, discard a mission, adjust the campaign. You'll need to hire. In the mission modes. So, the same thing with hard mode. No. Wait, where did I see that the mission modes make you need the higher points? The hard mode didn't. All right, the hard mode just put the hard cards in there. The mission mode makes the green stuff. Okay, there we go. That's the missions. Got it. All right, folks. Meandering Mike, Man Came In. We're over 45 minutes. This is a long unboxing. This is more a deeper dive, an unboxing, and look into there. Look at it. Well, what are all these cubes and dice for? Your generals. We do not look at those. Like, who do you want? You get to pick 3. You get to pick. You get to decide. I mean, most people would probably want, but I don't know what their pluses and minuses are. There might be some good reason to take a Romanian or a Italian. Maybe there's certain event cards that if you don't take those, you don't benefit from it. I don't know. You'd have to, or you could draw randomly. Maybe, yeah, if you want more replayability, you want different variety, you're going to have to play with or without hard mode or the mission modes or such. Yeah, that gives you all these events, hard mode events, missions, choice of generals. Maybe you pick 2 and do 1 at random. That could be interesting. All sorts of way to play that. Make the game harder or easier for you. Easier. Well, let's see. How could you make it easier for you? I suppose if you get one of your generals killed, you could actually replace him with a Italian or Romanian or something like that. You could cut yourself some slack, or maybe instead of doing 2 missions, do 1 mission, but don't require more victory points or something like that. You could different things you could do to customize your game. All right, folks. Meandering Mike. Man Cave of Madness. Where did I put that box lid so I can show you? Wow, where did I put it? Does anyone see? This is the box bottom, right? Here's the box bottom. Here's the rules. That's Cruel Necessity that I unboxed before. That's something I unboxed right there before. I don't know if you recognize that little symbol in the corner from Marshall Enterprises. There's a couple of places where I would have thought I would... there it is. All right. This is what we were unboxing right here, folks. Let's zoom in, zoom back. Again, this was from Catastrophe Games, Martin Melbardis, Campaign Fall Blau, Solitaire Game, Case Blue, Fall Blau, 1942, starting in July, pushing up to November. Can you succeed? Can you take Stalingrad? Can you push into the oil field at Grozny or take Astrakhan? How well can you do? Or are you going to get your butt kicked and surrounded at Stalingrad and cut off and all that good stuff? Meandering Mike, Man Cave of Madness. We're going to cut it off here, folks, before we meander you all to death. Before the 50-minute mark. It's counting down. It's 49:22. All right, so to all you good folks out there, take care and ciao.